Peace. What's happening, good people? This Gift here for Payusnomind. And let's talk about how music monetization actually works today. Now, in this video, we'll be focusing on streaming and downloads from the point of indie artists using digital distributors. But for a full breakdown, we have a guide called Ultimate Guide to Music Monetization that is available on our website for you to buy directly, or you can get it through Amazon Kindle, where if you're a Prime member, you can read it for free, or the audiobook version on Spotify, where if you're a premium member, you could listen for free, Barnes and Nobles. It's available a lot of places. You could also sign up for the newsletter and gain access to it, where we'll be making additions and updating it as information becomes available. Now here, we focus on streaming and downloads, but in the guide, we cover everything from catalog acquisition to how individual platforms monetize to digital asset monetization. It's just a real comprehensive breakdown of all of the ways that music monetization works. And you can find a link to it in the description box. We also have a free guide available called Ultimate Indie Artist Guide, Tools You Need, Lies You Don't, where I just tell you which platform I use in every situation, like for every different service you would need. So if you just want me to tell you what to use, get that guide. So, how music monetization works today. First up is the big dog. Woo! Streaming. Streaming works a lot like the game Hungry Hungry Hippo, where you got a whole bunch of hippos competing to eat the most marbles, and whoever eats the most marbles wins the game. That's a lot like how streaming works. Like, artists don't understand, or maybe they underestimate the extent of this. But the fact is, streaming is a competition. You are competing with all other rights holders to gain the most market share and get the most revenue. Whoever eats the most marbles, because it's not an infinite number of marbles, the more marbles you eat, the fewer marbles there are for everybody else. So the more money you make, the less money somebody else makes. This is why record companies are so crazy about indie artists eating up market share and getting more streams and stuff like that, because they make less money if indie artists make more money. So the way streaming monetization breaks down is 30% of what's collected or what's made from subscribers and ad revenue and things of that nature goes to the platform. So in the case of something like Spotify, they're taking 30% of the revenue off top. So let's say there's $100, $30 is going to Spotify, right? The remaining $70 is going to get split between all rights holders. That means the owner of the sound recording, the master, the owner of the publishing, right? The songwriters, the publishers, they're all splitting that $70. Now, 100% of that $70 is getting broken up as well, where about 80% of it is going to the rights holder of the sound recording, which is going to be collected by the digital distributor. So whoever your digital distributor is, they're going to get 80% of Spotify's revenue paid out to them collectively, right? On behalf of the owner of the sound recording. 20%, about 20% of that money is going to go to the publishing, the songwriter and the publisher. Now, that 20% that goes out to the songwriter and the publisher gets split as well between the performance and the mechanicals. And this is why it's important for you to be registered with all of these different companies, from the PROs, but also the publishing administrators, because a lot of money gets lost on the mechanical royalty end, because a lot of artists don't sign up with the companies that collect mechanical royalties. ASCAP, BMI, they don't mechanical royalties. Harry Fox Agency, the Mechanical Licensing Collective, they collect mechanical royalties, but only for the US. So if you want international royalties collected, like you get in streams in Germany or someplace like that, you need a publishing administrator, or you're losing some of your money. Now, recently, you've had a lot of new players enter into this game, from independent companies now signing deals with platforms directly to collect, sometimes adding better technology like Broma 16 and other companies. And you have some digital distributors that are working with them directly, or working with other companies that are working with them, and they're offering publishing administration. And what you guys got to recognize is that these are companies that are charging fees. So money gets lost in that process. So if somebody is using a company that's using a company, then you got what that company is being charged for using the third party. Let's say a company is using Broma 16. You got what they're being charged to use Broma 16 that they're going to deduct from what they're paying you, or from what they're paying the digital distributor that's collecting from them. And then you got the percentage that your digital distributor is going to take from you. So now you're losing money from what Broma 16 is charging. You're losing money from what the collection company is taking from the money that they collect from Broma 16. And then you're losing money from what your distributor is taking from the company that they're collecting from. And that's the same thing with some of these distributors that are working with middlemen, like sub-publishers for international royalty collection, where the money gets diluted. The sub-publisher, because all of the collection societies take a percentage of revenue for their operating costs. So ASCAP, all of them, and international companies do the same. So you got the money that's being taken from the company for its administrative costs. Then if there's a sub-publisher, the sub-publisher is sticking their hand in a cookie jar and taking their percentage. Then the sub-publisher is paying the remaining money out to your publishing administrator if they're using sub-publishers. And then the publishing administrator is taking their percentage and paying out the rest to you. So it's important to know how whatever company you're using to collect your mechanical royalties is facilitating it all. Are they using sub-publishers? Are they using these third-party companies? How much money is being lost in the pipeline? That's what you want to know. That's why it's still safer to use a company like Songtrust. Now with streaming, there is also the matter of artist-centric models versus fan-centric models, where, again, like I said before about the hungry hippo analogy, where the more marbles you eat, the less marbles there are for me to eat. You know, record companies are very concerned about indie artists eating up too many marbles. Now, on its head, like just straight up, head to head, record companies have the more popular catalogs that will get more streams than any individual indie artist. But indie artists is more concerning about the collective. That's what they're concerned about, the collective. So it's like you've got millions of songs coming from indie artists, each eating up small amounts of money that collectively amounts to a massive amount of money that starts to dwindle down the percentage of revenue that record companies would be entitled to. Because for 2024, record companies saw 50% market share, 50%. So this is where you have companies like Universal Music Group and all of them come and say, nah, we got to do something about this. And they impose these monetization thresholds that are now permeating all of these streaming platforms, where they're saying, no, you have to reach a certain amount of streams in order to qualify for monetization. And in the guide, we cover the different ways that the different platforms are handling these thresholds. But artists need to be aware so you know how to navigate around them. Now, the other thing here is digital downloads, where you're selling music to fans. They can buy it on iTunes. They can buy it on Amazon. Now, those platforms charge as well. So iTunes takes 30% of every download. Amazon takes about 30% of every download. So you're losing money to Amazon and iTunes when you sell music through their platform. Now, if you have a digital distributor that takes a percentage of your revenue, in addition to the 30% that you're paying out to iTunes and Amazon, you're paying out a percentage of your revenue to them as well. So if they're taking 9%, that's 39%. If they're taking 15%, that is 45% that you're paying out. Now, artists want to go direct to fan, and direct to fan, you keep more of your money, but it's not like you keep all of your money, and that's the caveat there. So it's like you can go and use a platform like Bandcamp, but Bandcamp takes 15% of your revenue. And in addition to 15% of your revenue, to gain access to all of the kind of information that you're entitled to as someone selling your music direct to fan, because there's a lot more data that gets collected from that. But to gain access to all of it, they want to charge you $10 a month on top of taking 15% of your revenue. Then you have a company like Even. Even also allows you to sell music direct to fan, but they take 20% of your revenue. So you're sacrificing a percentage of your revenue when you use these direct to fan platforms that are supposed to be allowing you to keep more of your money. So it ain't so much keeping more of your money, it's more so about control, right? Having emails and things of that nature. But you have to make sure that the platform actually delivers on that and actually gives you control over your audience and flexibility over your audience. Because when it comes to control over your audience, it's not just email addresses. The power is in the payment information. If you cannot move your audience and their financial records from place to place, you don't own your audience. If when I tell somebody to come buy something from my new store, they have to come and re-input their name, address, credit card information, all of that stuff has to be entered new. That adds friction to the process and makes it less likely that that person is going to convert. And if they're on a subscription, to move them, you have to cancel out their subscription or tell everybody to cancel and then try to get everybody to resubscribe somewhere else. So you don't really own your audience if they own the payment information. So we're going to jump on a live stream after this. So if you guys got any questions or whatever, get them queued up. Head over to the live stream. It's the link in the description box, the link from this video, and let's chop it up. Now, again, there's a link to the guides in the description box that you guys can click. As always, y'all can agree to disagree or agree, whatever the case may be. Feel free to reach me at Payusnomind on Instagram, at Payusnomind on Twitter /X, Payusnomind@gmail.com. This is Gift signing off. Payusnomind. Peace, good people. One.